Hello everyone, thank you for joining me again and welcome to any new viewers. This is To The Point English with Ben. I'm Ben, and in this video I'm going to share the 5 most common mistakes that Cambridge English exam students make in the speaking paper of the exams. So whether it's the B2 First, the C1 Advanced or the C2 Proficiency, over the years of helping now thousands of people prepare for the exams, these are the mistakes that I've noticed are repeated the most over and over again by different students. So I want to share these mistakes so that you don't make those same mistakes. Number 1, and this is a very common one, it's not completing the task in time. Now, as most of you probably know, in the speaking paper of the Cambridge English exams, some of the tasks have a time limit. And often that time limit is very short. You have to do a lot of things within that time. For example, in the C1 Advanced, part 2, which is the pictures, you have to compare the pictures and you have to answer 2 questions using speculative vocabulary, all in just 1 minute. And now that's tough, it's very tricky. And many students are able to do the first task of comparing 2 of the pictures, but then they run out of time before they even start answering the questions. So you have to be very conscious of the 1 minute limit in that task. And keep moving very quickly and speaking quickly and thinking quickly. It's very difficult, but with practice you can do it. So yeah, practice speaking within 1 minute, doing everything within 1 minute. Every time you practice that part of the exam, do it against the clock. Another very common mistake, and number 2 today, is finishing the task too early. So this is really the opposite to the mistake of number 1. And it's very difficult to time your answers to perfection where you finish on the dot of the 1 minute in the C1 Advanced or the 2 minutes of the C2 Proficiency long term. It's very difficult it's almost impossible to time your answer to perfection. So often people finish too early, which in many ways is worse than not completing the task in the time limit. Because if you finish too early, then you're not taking advantage of the time that you are given. It's your time to take advantage of it, to take the opportunity to impress the examiners and give the examiners content. You know that examiner that sits behind the interlocutor who is sitting there with a pen and taking notes? That's the assessor, and they're just listening for the content that you are giving them. And if you don't give them content to mark, then it's going to be very difficult to get a good score. Apart from that, if you finish early, the interlocutor is just going to sit and wait for you to continue until the time is up. Because again, it's your time. They don't want to stop before you've taken advantage of your time. So that's going to be a very awkward silence for however many seconds it is. So I always recommend that you keep talking until the interlocutor interrupts you. It's fine, it's no problem if the interlocutor interrupts you, as long as you have completed the task. That's the balance. Keep talking, don't give irrelevant information, but make sure you complete the task. And mistake number 3 is not interacting well with your partner. Now, in all of the exams, the B2 First, the C1 Advanced and the C2 Proficiency, there will be collaborative tasks. So in these tasks, you have to do a task with your partner. With one partner usually, sometimes with 2 partners. But it's very important to interact well with your partner. So what do I mean by interact well? Well, it's including your partner in the conversation, or sometimes asserting yourself in the conversation. Because you don't know what type of partner you're going to get. You could have a partner who is very talkative, that dominates the conversation. Or on the other hand, it could be a partner who is very nervous or very shy and doesn't talk much, so you have to then include them in the conversation. One of the biggest mistakes that people make is treating the collaborative tasks like monologues. So one partner will speak for, let's say, a minute, and then the other partner will speak for a minute, and then they will finish. That's not the way it should be done. It should be lots of short interactions. So one partner presenting their ideas and asking the opinion of their partner, and then back and forth. And that can be difficult when you're nervous, because you're really, people tend to get a bit self-centered when they're nervous and they're thinking about what they are doing and how they are performing. But you have to take your partner into consideration. So that's in the collaborative task and in the discussions. At the end of all of these exams, you have a discussion where you just have a nice conversation, hopefully, about the questions that the interlocutor asks you. And it should be, as I said, a nice conversation and interaction, not monologues. That's very important. By the way, before we continue, if you're feeling a little bit lost with your exam preparation and you need some tips and advice and feedback from a real live teacher, then why not join my exam academy? There you will have workshops with me through Zoom, live workshops, and also I'll be sharing extra content, and you can join an exclusive Telegram group where you'll meet lots of other like-minded students going through the same process. Check out my Patreon page in the description and see if it looks interesting for you, and hopefully see you there. And tip number 4 is not using the right vocabulary. This is a very common mistake that unprepared people make, especially in the part of the speaking paper where you need to speculate. Often it's comparing and speculating. Again, in all 3 of the exams, the B2 First, the C1 Advanced and the C2 Proficiency, there will be some speculation, because when you're looking at the pictures in particular, you don't really know exactly what you are looking at sometimes. Usually you have to speculate about what is happening in the pictures. So you have to use speculative vocabulary. Also, sometimes you need to use comparative vocabulary. So you're comparing different pictures and speculating about what might be happening in the pictures. And as I said, people who are not prepared for the exams don't really understand that, and they don't use the appropriate vocabulary, and the examiners are listening out for that vocabulary. So speculative vocabulary, as I've said in many of my previous videos, it might be, it looks like, it seems, it could be, it must be, they look like, that type of thing. Go back and check out my other videos for more speculative vocabulary. But as I said, it's a big mistake that people make, that they're not using the type of vocabulary that the examiners are looking for in the speaking paper. And finally, mistake number 5 is waffle. No, not that waffle. To waffle is to speak for a long time without giving any useful information, or just speaking about irrelevant things in general. And this is a big problem in the exam, because you have to do the task that you are set. And again, when people are nervous, which you inevitably will be in the exam, students often sort of focus on the grammar they're using and the vocabulary, which is good. But at the same time, you have to make sure the answers you are giving are relevant to the task you have been set. So don't start waffling about something that is irrelevant or useless. If you are asked a specific question, only answer that question, nothing extra. This can often happen in the discussion part at the end of the exam, the last part of the speaking paper. Because there is no time limit, candidates often feel freer to just waffle, basically, to go start talking about things without really answering the question. But even in the discussion, it's very important to only answer the question, nothing else. So, do you make any of those mistakes? Let me know in the comments. Hopefully you'll be able to eradicate them now through your preparation process, so you don't make them in the exam itself. Okay, I hope you found this video useful, and I'll see you very soon for another one. Take care. Bye.